And an angel interpreting the lesson to Daniel told him that lion stood for Babylon. And then he saw a bear come out of the water, because all of the 4 animals came up out of the water, and the bear had 3 ribs in its mouth. Well, the country Persia that conquered Babylon also conquered 3 other major powers in the area, including Ethiopia. So they covered even more land than Babylon. Then a leopard came out, and it had 4 wings. And the Persian Empire was conquered by the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great, and you'll learn about him in school. And when he died, his kingdom was divided into 4 different kingdoms. And then a great, terrible beast came out, and it had claws and horns, and it was just a weird beast. And it stood for, I don't remember what we decided, the Syrian Empire or the Roman? The 4th beast.
Roman.
The Roman Empire. That conquered and was more terrible than any of the previous ones, and controlled the region. And he had actually several different dreams that followed along the same line, not necessarily with strange animals in them, but they followed along the same lines. In one of them, he saw the kings of the north and the kings of the south fighting each other, one after another, and his details he gave, that he wrote down in the book of Daniel, of the kings of the north and south fighting, are so detailed that some people say he had to have written them after the Syrian Empire, almost the time of Christ, because he did everything but give the names of who the kings were. He told what they did and why and how they were espionage and lies and all sorts of stuff going on. And that's how detailed of information that God gave to Daniel to show him what was going to happen. And so Daniel had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen even after his death, as far as history goes, and we can have an idea of, or we can have affirmation of what happened. Now, why would that be important? Because the God who knew 200 years before Antiochus Epiphanes took over Syria, that Antiochus Epiphanes was going to take over Syria by having his nephew murdered and cheating and lying, the God that knew that 200 years before is the same God that said Jesus was going to come, and that Jesus would pay the ransom for our sins and offer us a way to heaven. And it's important, the history, what we call history, and Daniel called prophecy, those match up, and that proves to us that our Bible is true, and that it is our God that wrote that Bible. And if we can trust what he prophesied in history, and we can trust that it came true, because history tells us it came true, then we can trust that we have heaven in front of us. We know that we will fly away, as our special today was, because we have Jesus, and we can trust in God, the same God that dictated our Bible for us. Okay? And that closes out the story of Daniel. There is a mention of a Daniel returning to Jerusalem in Ezra and Nehemiah after the Babylonian captivity. We don't know if it is our Daniel or not, since he served under Cyrus, and it was Cyrus that gave the command. We just really don't know for sure. But we do know that he lived a long life of service to God. He would have been in his mid-80s at the time he was serving under Cyrus. So, okay, you gonna clap with me? Or you make me do it all by myself? I am a C. I am a C-H. I am a C-H-R-I-S-T-I-A-N. And I have C-H-R-I-S-T in my H-E-A-R-T, and I will L-I-V-E live eternally. I am a C. I am a C-H. and I will L-I-V-E, live eternally. I am a C, I am a C-H, I am a C-H-R-I-S-T-I-A-N, and I have C-H-R-I-S-T in my H-E-A-R-T, and I will L-I-V-E, live eternally. Okay, that song doesn't end.